Alright, guys. It's late as shit. I just finished Daredevil. I'm tired. I'm running on fumes. I was probably going to do this video tomorrow, but I figured let me just do it now while this is fresh in my head. So, forgive me if some of my facts are a little jumbled. I'm just processing everything right now. So, I'm going to upset a lot of you. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you guys absolutely are saying it was perfection. I'm sorry. I disagree. Hear me out. Hear me out. This is what I do. I just notice shit and I point shit out. So, piggybacking off of my episodes 1 to 4 review, same thing like I said before, those were perfect. So, I'm going to break this into sections. So, the first half of the season, perfection. The whole intro with Punisher, fantastic. Anything in the season that had to do with, crime, the grounded stories with the Irish mob and all that, like all that stuff was perfect. All that stuff was excellent. And then my first impressions of Elektra were not good, but just hear me out. So it's just because when they introduced her in episode 5, I just wasn't mentally ready to accept her yet, if that makes sense. So like I was still fresh off the Punisher story. Everything was grounded in this story arc with the mob and the crime, and then they throw her in there, and then your first impression of her is this spoiled rich bitch, which is the point, obviously. So her as a character, I wasn't ready for yet, but as the show kept going, I started liking her more and more and more, and by then I loved her. So let's get that out the way. I loved Elektra. I did. I really liked Elektra. I liked how she developed in her story over time. What I didn't like was everything else that was happening. So I was following along with the whole hand thing, but the thing was I got fatigued by it. Basically, I had to adjust the camera, sorry. Basically, and then me even as a martial artist and loving fight choreography and everything, it was too much, man. Like, the whole hand thing, like, it got to the point where, like, every 10 minutes in every episode, it was just like, oh, more ninjas, ha, 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 ha. And then some shit happens, and then, oh no, more ninjas. I'm like, all right, come on, man. Like, I think there was maybe, like, 8 or 9 different just random ninja fight scenes by the end of the show. And my thoughts are all over the place. But yeah, it just got old after a while. I just got numb to the fighting after a while. Like, season 1, the fights that they had were good, and they were spaced in a way, and they were more impactful with more tension. It reached a point here where it was just like, all right, more ninjas, I'd probably have to rewatch it. I really didn't understand a lot of the hand story, the hole and the black sky, and unless I'm missing something, there was a big plot hole. If she's the black sky and she's so precious to them, why did they slice her with a poison blade and almost kill her? Like, huh? There was some inconsistency there. Nobu coming back. They kind of gave that away in the trailer for the season. I knew that was happening, so that wasn't really a plot twist. To go back to the good parts of the season again, basically everything that had to do with the Punisher, amazing. I was vested in that. The court case was amazing. I like the fact that they brought Foggy center stage, and then they actually had a trial as a main part of the story, considering that they're lawyers. So that was very well done. I was invested in that. And then Fisk showing up, amazing. I loved it. Didn't expect it. They kept that in their wraps. So I like how they tied that together. The prison scene, that whole prison episode, that was top 3 of the season, maybe behind episode 4. I think episode 4 is still the best one. So that was great. So they left a lot of things open. Like, Fisk is still out there, so we know he'll come back in season 3. So I'm cool with that. What else? Elektra's death, I guess, was predictable. We saw it coming. The way it happened wasn't Bullseye that did it this time. It was Nobu, but whatever. I know I'm missing a lot of things. Karen, I like Karen. Some people were complaining, but she's still good. I like Karen. I like that story. She actually grew on me more. I liked her better as a character. And then the love interests, I still say Rosario Dawson is the best love interest for Matt. But I was telling somebody earlier that him and Karen didn't really have chemistry, and it was obvious, and that was on purpose. Like, they cared for each other, but they couldn't be together. I find Rosario brings more honesty from him and is more grounded, whereas Elektra brought the worst parts of Matt, and his first meeting of her is so mad. Like we see a side of him we never seen before when he first sees her, and he's so pissed and so just pissed off at her, and what's the word I'm looking for? Spiteful. Like he's so spiteful in the way he speaks to her. Like we've never seen the side of him, and only somebody you deeply care for can affect you in that way. And that was a build up off of we got to see what happened over time, but that was handled well. Anyway, main thing I want to talk about is the finale. The finale let me down. Let me tell you why. It was like a money shot that didn't deliver, or rather, the money shot never actually came. So this whole season is building a Punisher and Punisher story, and you're expecting some finale where like everybody together is gonna battle the hand together, and it was just underwhelming, and it was kind of poorly edited because Elektra's in the room with Daredevil, and that they built tension in that scene well. So they're talking to each other, and they're just like, if we get out of here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna travel the world. And you hear the ninjas banging on the door, and they said the ninjas on the roof, and he's like, we're surrounded on both sides, and they even show like 50 ninjas charging in, right? So you get the impression that there's like an army of ninjas, and then they leave the room. They cut to the scene on the roof. There's like 10 ninjas, and then the ninjas that were banging the door never showed up, and they never appeared ever. And then it was just them versus 10 ninjas on the roof, and that was really bad editing or planning. And then this whole time I'm like, all right, now Punisher's gonna come save him or take care of the other ninjas, and there's gonna be like a war, and he's gonna pull out the minigun. And all they did was just corny 90s movie thing, like like in the 90s action movies where like there was always that scene where like the friend shows up and they help and like he helps him at the last moment. He's like, yeah, like that's exactly what happened here. It was like that scene in Kickboxer where his friend shows up with the machine gun randomly out of nowhere. Like the scene is pretty much done already, and then there's four ninjas, and then Punisher's just like, hey, pew pew pew, thumbs up. All right, like really, man, and then he just leaves. I was like, come on. The whole season was building up to this moment, and it just no money shot. That was a letdown. I'm sorry. It was a cool fight scene, but Nobu as the end boss wasn't as compelling as Fisk. Nothing's gonna top Fisk. They built and built and built and built him for the whole season one to that last showdown. That last showdown had so much emotion behind it, and it was the best fight of the show. Whereas with Nobu, it was just like, like I wasn't as invested in it. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like I'm really dogging the season, but I just need to point out the negatives, because that's the impression it left on me at the end. Overall, it's hard to rate it. Like season one was honestly perfect. I can't find a lot of fault with season one. It was a well crafted story. Every scene was relevant. Every episode was relevant. Everything led up to something, and everything had a purpose. This was great for the Punisher. Everything with the Punisher was fantastic. The prison scene, but there was a lot of misdirection at the end, and it kind of diverged in a way. Like the blacksmith part of the story felt unnecessary, and it was anticlimactic because you have Daredevil interrogating people, trying to find the blacksmith, along with I'm sorry, I'm tired, with Punisher, and then the boat explodes, and then he's just like, yeah, I guess we're done with that, and then he doesn't even go see what happens to the blacksmith, and then that whole story is just like whatever, and then okay, blacksmith ends up being the colonel, which I felt was a little unnecessary as a plot twist. It was kind of cool, I guess, but it didn't have to be there. Like, they should have tied it in a little bit better with the whole crime family thing, and just he kind of had his own story at the end, I guess. But again, it was just anticlimactic. And then I do like how he got the jacket with the skull, burned the house down. Now he's off doing his own thing, but which confuses me because I don't know if he's gonna get his own show, because Marvel said they weren't planning to give him a show, but now maybe they will, or maybe he'll show up in the next season, hopefully, because he was fantastic. Burnt Oil was fantastic. So I don't know. Just to wrap it up, I was a little underwhelmed at the end. I did love Elektra. I love Punisher. I liked a lot of things that happened. I liked the dialogue. I like how Foggy took center stage. But the hand story, I didn't care for it. I'm sorry. It just poorly explained, vague. Um, I wasn't really that invested in it, but good season. I mean, it's on par with season one. I think season one was overall crafted better, but the strengths in this season were the acting and Punisher, so it kind of gives it points up there. But as an overall done season, I might say one might have been a little better. I don't know, but I know a lot of you are going to be mad about this review, but let me know what you think about it. Have a good night.